The year is 1989 and Mario is the biggest thing in gaming. Everyone's making platformers where you jump on enemies and collect coins. And then one guy decides to make a game where you can't really attack anything. Instead, your only friend is a blob from another planet who transforms into a ladder when you feed him licorice. And that's not even the weirdest part. The weirdest part is, it kind of actually works. Welcome to A Boy and His Blob, Trouble on Blobonia. One of the most creative, strange, and misunderstood games on the entire Nintendo Entertainment System. Today we're diving deep into this bizarre little gem. The good, the bad, and why it still feels so unique almost 40 years after its release. Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. I'm Tegan, and if you're new here, we're on a mission to beat and review some of the most interesting and sometimes forgotten games from gaming history. And A Boy and His Blob is definitely interesting. You play as a boy who finds and befriends an alien blob that crash lands in his backyard. The blob, whose name is Blobber, loves jelly beans. And if you feed him different flavors, he transforms into useful tools which help you solve puzzles and explore. Sounds cute, right? But underneath that cute premise is one of the most unconventional game designs on the NES. This game isn't about reflexes or combat. This is a game about creativity, problem solving, and learning to work with your weird little friend. Before we get into the game itself, I want to talk about who made this thing, because that context actually really matters. The game was designed and programmed by David Crane. Yes, the same David Crane who designed Pitfall back on the Atari 2600. One of the most influential game designers of that era. By 1989, Crane had left Activision and was working at Absolute Entertainment. When Nintendo gave him the green light to start creating NES games, Crane was given a ridiculously short development time. We're talking 6 weeks. 6 weeks to come up with an entirely new game with a completely original concept. No existing engine, no template to follow, just Crane and a small team trying to come up with something that didn't exist yet. And the rushed development time certainly showed, in the best and worst ways. So what makes this game so different? Most games in 1989 gave you power-ups to make you stronger. Mario gets a fire flower, Link gets new swords, but in A Boy and His Blob, you don't get stronger, your blob does. The entire game revolves around a simple but brilliant idea. You get a limited amount of jelly beans, and each flavor you feed Blobber does something different. Your job is to decide which bean solves the problem in front of you. It's not about combat, it's about partnership. You can't jump, you can't swim, and you can't survive big falls. On his own, the boy is completely useless. But with Blobbert by his side, he becomes capable of incredible things. That's the heart of this game, and it's what makes it feel so special even today. Alright, let's talk about the actual mechanics, because this is where the game lives and dies. Here are some of the jelly beans and what they do. Licorice. Ladder. Probably the most used bean in the game. Strawberry. Bridge. Cola. Bubble. Lets you fall safely or breathe underwater. Vanilla. Umbrella. Protects from falling rocks. Apple. Jack. Lifts heavy objects. Cinnamon. Blowtorch. Burns through spider webs. Tangerine. Trampoline. Root beer. Rocket. Lets you fly between areas. Ketchup. This one's weird. The Blob actually hates ketchup and will reject it, but it will help him get to you if he is on a lower level. The system is genuinely creative. The problem is the game gives you absolutely no instruction as to what bean does what. You have to experiment. And if you waste too many beans trying to figure it out, you can actually soft lock yourself. This is both the game's biggest strength and biggest weakness. The game is split into two main sections, Earth and Blobonia. On Earth, you're exploring caves and sewers, trying to find a way to Blobonia. These early levels are basically tutorials designed as exploration. You learn how to use the beans here. The level design for Earth is pretty smart. The game slowly introduces you to new beans while forcing you to combine old ones in new ways. The controls are okay. The boy has a bit of momentum and can be slippery, but it's manageable once you get used to it. The real star of the show is Blobbert's transformations, which are surprisingly well animated for an NES game. Once you reach Blobonia, the game opens up significantly. You're on an alien planet ruled by an evil emperor who has turned all of the blobs into mindless slaves. Your goal is to defeat him and save Blobonia. The levels here get more complex. You have to use multiple bean combinations, backtrack, and really think about resource management. The story is simple but surprisingly charming. The relationship between Boy and Blobbert really carry it. It feels like a weird Saturday morning cartoon in video game form. So what does this game actually do well? First, the creativity is off the charts for 1989. Very few games were trying to do anything this different. The jellybean system is genuinely unique, even by today's standards. Second is the partnership between the boy and the blob. You're not just using a tool, you're working with a companion. That relationship gives the game a lot of its charm. Third, the animation still holds up surprisingly well. Blobbert's transformations are smooth and expressive. The character design, although very basic, still have real personality. A Boy and His Blob doesn't take itself too seriously, which works in its favor. Now let's talk about where it falls apart. The main factor is trial and error. Because the game gives you absolutely no guidance on what jellybean to use, you're constantly guessing. And if you guess wrong, you could be wasting precious resources. The game controls can also be very frustrating. The boy has a lot of momentum and can slide off of platforms. Combined with pixel-perfect platforming sections, it can get really annoying. And the difficulty curve is all over the place. Some parts feel way too easy, while other sections feel unfairly punishing if you didn't hoard the right jelly beans. It's a game that clearly needed more development time. 6 weeks is not enough time to polish something this ambitious. Despite its flaws, A Boy and Its Blob has a weird little legacy. It got a sequel on Game Boy called The Rescue of Princess Blobette, and much later a full reimagining in 2009 on Wii, which improved on many of the original's problems. I actually got the chance to play the remake, and I absolutely loved it. I have a review on my channel of it if you're interested. Go check it out. But the 1989 version remains a fascinating time capsule. It's a game that tried to do something completely different during one of the most formulaic periods in gaming history. In a world full of Mario clones, David Crane made a game about friendship, problem solving, and jelly beans. And honestly, I respect the hell out of that. So, should you play A Boy and His Blob Trouble on Blobonia in 2026? If you're someone who likes weird creative games and doesn't mind a little bit of trial and error, then yeah, I definitely recommend checking it out. It's short, unique, and has a lot of heart. If you're looking for tight controls, clear direction, and modern gameplay, you might bounce off it pretty hard. For me, I really enjoyed it. It's not perfect, but it's memorable. And in a sea of generic 8-bit platformers, that says a lot. What did you think of A Boy and His Blob? Did you play it as a kid, or is this your first time hearing about it? Let me know in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this deep dive into weird NES games, make sure you're subscribed. There's plenty more where this came from. Thanks for watching, everyone, and I'll see you in the next one.